cute today. I just got my braids done. Maybe I should post a selfie. Do you have a caption that's witty, self-deprecating, yet somehow thought-provoking? No, I was just thinking emojis? That's fine. If you want to get buried in the infinite scroll. What? What about a photo dump? Something that screams I have 20 best friends, a film camera, and unlimited PTO. But I don't have any of those things. Good luck getting to the top of the feed. Maybe I can post a reel? If it's not rage bait or gooner material, don't even bother. What about if I post a piece of art that I'm really proud of? The only achievement we recognize is engagement pictures. Or wedding photos. I don't even have a boyfriend. Look, we just might not be the platform for you. Then who are you for? People who want to talk to AI Kendall Jenner. Hey guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about why posting on Instagram feels like a humiliation ritual. I find the social politics of Instagram to be endlessly interesting. I actually made a few different videos about Instagram a while ago, and even since 4 years has passed, Instagram has changed a lot, and honestly, I kind of think for the worse. There are more ads than ever, there's more content in our feeds from accounts we don't follow. It feels like nobody likes pictures on Instagram anymore. It's like Instagram isn't even for pictures, it's for the most infuriating reel you've ever seen in your life. These days, Instagram seems less like a social app and more like a surveillance state. It feels like people are lurking and no one is actually engaging or connecting. It's basically an op convention, and I'm certainly not the only person who feels this way. This sentiment has frequently showed up on my TikTok For You page.
I don't even want to post on Instagram anymore.
I don't care what nobody say. Instagram is full of monitoring spirits.
Remove high school people from your page. Remove people that don't like and comment from your page.
Instagram is really starting to give me the ick, y'all.
You post on there and it's kind of like people are just watching you.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now why y'all hate Instagram.
The vibes are just off on Instagram. The energy is weird. It feels like for anything to be noticed, it has to get a bunch of attention immediately or die a slow, painful, algorithmically driven death. This has been true ever since Instagram got rid of the chronological feed, but it's even more pronounced now that it prioritizes recommended content and ads over accounts you actually follow. In a 2023 Meta earnings call, Mark Zuckerberg actually revealed that across all of Instagram, 40% of the content on people's feed is from accounts they don't follow. It's more profitable this way. The average user doesn't post enough content to keep eyeballs on the app. In 2022, the Wall Street Journal found that only a fifth of Instagram users post Reels. Many creators have managed to capitalize on this content gap, but for me personally, posting an Instagram Reel feels like facing a witchcraft accusation in the town square. It feels hostile, and it's funny because I feel the exact opposite way of posting on TikTok. I pretty much will post anything on there, and it feels free of judgment. Not to say that TikTok is by any means perfect, it's just that over the years, Instagram has gone from feeling like a creative outlet to a rat race for attention. So today, I kind of just want to rant about my problems with Instagram, why it feels so weird there, and why I can't seem to get off of it. First, I want to thank Opera for sponsoring this video. When I'm researching for my content, I have so many tabs open, but thanks to Opera, the sponsor of this video, I am able to stay incredibly organized. Not all web browsers are created equally, and I learned that when I started using Opera. I used to have like 20 different tabs open on multiple browser windows at the same time. It was like all my tabs everywhere, all at once. It was very disorganized and annoying trying to keep track of articles I wanted to reference in my videos on top of various online and entertainment tabs. So Opera's tab islands are a lifesaver. I can group my tabs based on categories, so I have an island for entertainment, shopping, and video research. Oftentimes when I'm browsing the internet, I'll come across something that I might want to reference in a future video, and this feature helps me to not forget about it. I save so much time not having to search through my history or open all of my tabs. I can just go to my island and it's there. Nothing makes me more distracted than a messy desktop, so the ability to collapse or expand islands when I'm not using them is a game changer. There's also this really cool tab tracing feature. When switching between tabs, Opera underscores your most recently visited tabs. The darker the underscore, the more recently you visited the tab, so you can easily find tabs you were just looking at without endless clicking around. This saves me so much time. Aria, Opera's free built-in AI tool, can also help me with tab organization. I press Control+/ or Command+/ and Aria's command line immediately pops up. For example, I can close all of my YouTube tabs at once or create bookmarks with all of my Wikipedia tabs. I also use the split screen tool when looking at 2 websites at the same time, meaning I don't need to have multiple browser windows open. I can compare them in one place. All you have to do is drag one window down and the screen will split into 2. And when I want to watch a video while browsing, I can use the video pop-out feature so I can multitask. I feel like Opera makes everything so much more compact and has a place, so make sure you click the link in the description to download Opera and streamline your browsing experience today. Okay, so I know it feels weird for me to like make a rant about Instagram because technically I'm like an influencer or a content creator. I don't know what people want to call me, but I am an online personality. I'm a niche internet micro celebrity. I truly have felt the ick towards Instagram so much, and I just have like so many thoughts about it. I think the first reason why it feels so like weird and hostile and like not the vibes on Instagram is that because for most of us, we created our accounts years ago, and a lot of people that we know from like our home, from our childhood, from a random night in a bar bathroom are still following us. And I think it's just like not normal to be constantly reminded of the existence of people who are no longer in your life. Like theoretically, those people should have no impact on how you choose to present yourself on social media, but I think just that the awareness that they're there and that they could see it, it just like breeds some sort of insecurity in me. Like truly, I made my Instagram in 2012. I was 12. I was in elementary school. And I've obviously changed so much since then, but it just feels so weird that people who like know me from so long ago can still see everything I'm doing. I know it's like, of course, my choice to like be a public facing person who like wants to create content online and have followers and attention, but it's like, I'm not making it for the people who I know or have known in the past. Like I truly just want it to be able to find the strangers who vibe with it, because we're so connected to people from our past on Instagram. That is like sort of where this phrase monitoring spirits came from. I mean, I know it's also like a religious thing, but I'm not gonna really go into that. But it's like, of course these people feel like ghosts because they were once in your life and now they're not, but you're still reminded of their presence because their profile picture occasionally haunts your feed. And it's like, who's to say if the monitoring spirits are actually evil? I think a lot more people are just like passively watching social media and are just like addicted to their phones. So listen, if I'm the first person to view your story every time, it's because I have a phone addiction. It's not because like I'm plotting on your downfall. I think it can feel really cringe to post on Instagram because people who knew you as a completely different person are watching. And I think to a degree there is like a version of you who is watching from their perspective. And even though it's like, you know, you want to post a certain thing or like act a certain way, like it still feels maybe even fraudulent because you're like, oh, that person who knew me from that phase of my life knew a completely different version of me. So I think it just feels so uncomfortable to like step into a different version of yourself in front of people from your past. And I think that's why I feel so much freedom with posting on TikTok, because the whole point of it is entertainment. It's not for people who you actually know in real life. And obviously like this supercharged algorithm makes it really easy to reach the exact sort of intended audience that you have in mind. And this is something I've always felt that I could be more authentically myself to a group of strangers than to people who actually know me. And I think that's even why I probably started posting on YouTube originally. I feel like I can be more authentically myself in front of an audience of total strangers who don't know me and who will never know me, because I don't know, it's just like there are no consequences in a way. And I think that is sort of the feeling that I get from posting on TikTok, because it is relatively anonymous and you're just like not really connected to anyone from your real life. Whereas on Instagram, it is like everyone you've ever literally ever met is on there. And I think it just causes me to stick to more of a script of like, this is how this person perceives me. So to step outside of that frame of reference feels scary, unusual, and uncomfortable. Now, another thing I want to talk about Instagram is like normalization of adding everyone you ever meet on Instagram. I posted this TikTok one time. I'll insert it here. I'm gonna say this once and for all. You guys need to stop asking people for their Instagram, especially when you've met them one time. And literally, a lot of people disagreed with me, but there was a few people who didn't, so shout out to you. I hate the obligatory social cue of like when you end a conversation, what's your Instagram? Like, because the thing is, we don't need each other's Instagram. You're a friend of a friend. You're a friend's boyfriend. You're an acquaintance. You're someone who said you like my outfit. Like, what are we gonna do with this? We're just gonna like look at each other's Instagram stories and Instagram posts for the next who knows how many years? Why do we need each other's Instagrams? We don't. I will never ask anyone for their Instagram, because one thing about me is like I'm a sleuth, and it's like if I can find you and if I need to find you, I will find you, trust and believe. So I don't need to ask you for your Instagram, I will find it. But on another level, it's just like those obligatory social cues where it's like, nobody is really thinking, why do I need your Instagram? If you have no plans of contacting me, then honestly, no, you don't need my Instagram. Because 9 times out of 10, it's just like the thing that you say, like the thing that you should say, like, oh, we should hang out. And a lot of times people say that and they don't mean that. I kind of hate that what's your Instagram has become like a default social cue, especially when it comes to people that you barely know and that you've barely met and that you've had like a 5-minute conversation with. It's like, why would we need to exchange Instagrams? Why would I need to be reminded of your existence every day when I'm meeting you for one time and I will likely never see you again? I do feel like in creative fields, Instagram is basically LinkedIn, and it's like the de facto networking platform, and people just do that. And I've basically come to, unfortunately, accept that at this point, especially since I started doing stand-up comedy, because Instagram is like the LinkedIn of comedy, where that's just how everyone connects. I kind of just miss when it was a platform where you followed people that you were actually friends with, or just you followed whatever influencers or content creators that you were interested in, and there wasn't like this social pressure to sort of like follow back every person you've met in passing ever. I think when you like add a bunch of people that you barely know on Instagram, it's easy to conflate passive surveillance with active effort and like actually being in someone's life and being their friend and getting to know them. That takes time and energy and maybe even sometimes money. But if you just like add someone on Instagram, you can just see what they're up to with a click of the button. You don't even have to actively choose to click on their story, because the stories just keep on scrolling by, and then you realize, oh, it's my friend's birthday and I didn't know until I saw it on an Instagram story. Which begs the question, is that actually your friend if you need Instagram to tell you it's their birthday? If the only reason that you are reminded of someone's existence is Instagram, maybe that person is not actually in your life. And that's okay. Again, it goes back to that thing of like, what's your Instagram? Where it's like, you can't just meet someone in passing and just let it be serendipitous. It's not to say that continuing the connection to the internet is like a bad thing. I think it's like a relatively neutral thing, but it's like, well, why do we need to do that? I think like the cumulative effects of being constantly reminded of the existence and the lives of people that you don't intimately know, like it ultimately just like breeds all this like comparison and insecurities. In that moment, it seems harmless, but it's like when you realize that you're just like scrolling every day through a bunch of people that you truly don't know and you're seeing the best parts of their lives, you're gonna feel crazy. You're gonna feel like everyone has a better life than you. I feel like it sucks how much friendship is also tied to like likes and comments, especially nowadays with 40% of content being from accounts that you don't even follow. It's genuinely hard to see the posts of like actual real friends, especially if those real friends are not trying to like be a content creator or an influencer and get a bunch of attention. I feel like it also sucks how much friendship is tied to Instagram. And I say this as someone who is on Instagram like all the time, but it's interesting because I know a handful of people who don't have Instagram. And low key, when I see those people, I'm really reminded that, wait, I actually don't tell them anything that's going on in my life because I post it all on Instagram and I assume that everyone I know will see it. But that's not necessarily the case because not everyone is on Instagram, and also like 40% of content that people see in their feeds is not even from accounts they follow. And it's like you can't have that expectation anymore. I feel like maybe in the past you kind of could have, because like when Instagram used to be chronological, it's truly wild that like you'll be in conversation with people and they'll be like, oh, I posted on Instagram, you didn't see? And it's like, well, that shouldn't be the way that you get updates on someone's life. Maybe the way you should get updates on someone's life is them telling you. I think one feature that I really have enjoyed on Instagram is the close friend story. I think the incongruity of what a close friend means in real life versus on Instagram is really interesting though, because on Instagram close friends, it could be people that you are actually genuinely best friends with and really good friends with. But I also find myself adding people who I'm like, I want to be their friend. So I'm putting them in my close friends circle, which is like, it's weird for sure. I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like weird how technology and naming systems sort of changes our perception of relationships. Because like within my close friend circle, it's like there are people who I've actually barely hung out with and barely met, but there's a certain level of like trust and familiarity or social goodwill where I'm like, yeah, they can be on here, they get it. And then there's also people who I've known since like I was 10 years old. The other thing I want to talk about, I really wish unfollowing wasn't such a big social faux pas. I know that might be a controversial opinion, but I actually think it's okay to unfollow someone if you literally never see them besides on Instagram. I think it's a different thing if it's like someone who you're regularly seeing on a daily basis, prepared to get side-eyed or get questioned. But I truly think for those people who like you added on Instagram for no reason, or you followed them for no other reason than you felt bad that you didn't follow back, like I don't think it should be an actual social faux pas to like unfollow people that you are not even friends with. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever be able to remove myself from Instagram. At the moment, it's not my goal to remove myself from Instagram. In fact, I'm actively trying to get more followers on there. So follow me on Instagram. But I have been able to remove myself from certain social platforms with little to no consequences. I got off of Twitter in like 2019 because I was just like, I spend so much time on here and I literally make no money from it. So I deleted Twitter and I never looked back. Snapchat, that's something else that I spent a ridiculous amount of time on, and I was like, why am I spending so much time on this? So eventually I deleted it. And I think Snapchat for me, I was like, to me it was easier to delete because I was just like, I can just text these people. All the people who I was Snapchatting, I was like, I have all of your phone numbers. If I need to communicate with you, I can text you. If I want to send you a picture, I can send you a picture via text. So I think that one just felt a little bit more like redundant for me. And then LinkedIn, I haven't like officially deleted my LinkedIn, but I basically haven't been on LinkedIn as like an active user for like 3 years at this point. I don't really think I'm missing out on anything on LinkedIn unless you count someone's like heartwarming story about how they got into B2B sales. Instagram has been one of the platforms that I've been on the longest. Like I said, I got on there in like 2012 and I still have it and I've still used it so much. I think because it's kind of like a hub for social life, and even now being in like kind of a creative field, being a content creator, being a comedian, it's also a hub for professional opportunities and connections. So I don't know, it's hard to say that if I will ever get off of Instagram. I just want to hopefully maximize it so I can like leverage it to be a creative person and to get more opportunities to create, because fortunately and unfortunately that's kind of like the way things go, especially even with doing comedy now. I have realized that so much of being good at comedy is actually not being good at comedy, it's being good at social media and posting clips and posting funny stuff so people will follow you, and so you'll actually have people in the room when you perform. Anyway, Instagram is weird. It's hard because it's like I want to be more successful on it, but I also like kind of don't like how it's really changed our social fabric, and people are very unthoughtful when they ask the question, what's your Instagram? Because people are just not using it as a way of genuine connection anymore. It really just feels so passive. I would love to hear your thoughts on Instagram below. Do you feel like it's a humiliation ritual to post on Instagram? Do you feel like the vibes are weird? Do you feel like it's off? I'd love to know, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.